There's a specific kind of confusion that drains men more than arguments ever could. One minute she's warm, open, pulling you in. The next she's distant, cold, or acting like you imagined the closeness altogether. When you try to address it calmly, the story flips. Now you're the problem. You're overthinking. You're too sensitive. You're asking for too much. And suddenly, you're not just confused. You're defending your own reality. This video isn't about blaming women or demonizing behavior. It's about understanding a pattern that quietly erodes men's confidence, judgment, and self-trust if they don't catch it early. Confusion followed by blame is not random. It serves a purpose, and once you see why it happens, you stop internalizing it. Stop chasing clarity from the wrong place, and start responding from a position of strength instead of self-doubt. By the end of this, you'll understand why inconsistent behavior creates chaos, why accountability often disappears when power shifts, and how grounded men avoid getting pulled into cycles that were never meant to be resolved, only survived. Confusing behavior isn't always accidental. In many dynamics, it's the byproduct of someone wanting emotional flexibility without responsibility. When her actions don't match her words, you naturally try to reconcile the gap. You ask questions. You seek clarity. You try to understand where you stand. That's a reasonable response. But it's also where the imbalance begins. The moment confusion exists, someone gains leverage. She can pull close without committing, withdraw without explanation, and reset the tone whenever it suits her. When you finally raise the inconsistency, the focus shifts away from her behavior and onto your reaction. You're told you're reading into things, pushing too hard, or creating problems that aren't there. The original issue is never addressed. It's deflected. This is why blame often follows confusion. Accountability would require consistency, and consistency would require her to choose a direction. Blame is easier. It keeps the dynamic unresolved while placing the emotional burden on you. Over time, men stuck in this pattern stop trusting their instincts. They second-guess what they feel, lower their standards to keep the peace, and confuse endurance with maturity. Grounded men don't argue with confusion. They observe it. They recognize that clarity doesn't come from pressing harder. It comes from stepping back and watching behavior over time. Confusion only has power when you try to fix it. When you stop doing that, the pattern either corrects itself or reveals exactly what it was protecting all along. Blame usually shows up the moment you stop absorbing the confusion quietly. As soon as you pull back, ask for clarity, or change your behavior, the dynamic shifts. What was once miscommunication suddenly becomes your fault. You're accused of being distant, cold, insecure, or difficult. Not because you are, but because you're no longer compensating for her inconsistency. This is where many men get trapped. Instead of holding the line, they defend themselves. They explain their intentions, justify their reactions, and try to prove they're reasonable. But the moment you start defending, you've accepted a frame that was never yours. The conversation is no longer about her mixed signals. It's about your response to them. Blame works because it redirects attention away from the original behavior and puts you back into pursuit mode. Strong men understand this pivot instantly. They don't argue narratives. They don't chase resolution from someone who benefits from ambiguity. They let actions speak. If behavior stays unclear, they reduce access. If blame replaces accountability, they disengage emotionally. Not as punishment, but as self-respect. Confusion followed by blame isn't a misunderstanding. It's a pattern that survives on your participation. The moment you stop trying to correct it, the power of it disappears. What remains is either genuine effort or the truth you were being protected from seeing. The final trap is the urge to fix what was never meant to be stable. Once confusion and blame are in play, many men shift into repair mode. They try to communicate better, be more patient, soften their tone, explain their intentions again, believing clarity will restore balance. In reality, this is where power quietly drains. When you over-explain, you teach the other person that inconsistency is tolerable as long as you're willing to carry the emotional load. You become the stabilizer for a dynamic that benefits from instability. The more you try to fix it, the less incentive there is for her to change. Confusion stays. Blame stays. You stay stuck. Strong men don't fix patterns that require them to abandon themselves. They observe behavior over time and respond accordingly. If clarity is met with confusion, they stop offering clarity. If accountability is met with blame, they stop engaging emotionally. This isn't coldness, it's discernment. The moment you stop trying to save the dynamic, one of two things happens. Either her behavior corrects itself through effort and consistency, or the connection collapses under its own weight. Both outcomes are wins, because a relationship that only survives when you keep shrinking is not a relationship. It's a slow erosion of self-respect. Power isn't regained by winning arguments. It's regained by choosing not to participate in dynamics that cost you your peace. If this dynamic felt familiar, that's not coincidence. It's awareness setting in. Confusion, blame, and emotional whiplash don't happen by accident, and they don't disappear because you explain yourself better. They end when you stop participating in patterns that require you to lose yourself to keep the peace. The moment you choose clarity over chaos, self-respect over fixing, and observation over reaction, everything shifts. Either the relationship rises to meet your standards, or it reveals it never could. Both outcomes protect you. If you're learning how to spot these patterns early, how to hold your frame, and how to walk away without guilt or anger, make sure you subscribe. Like the video if it resonated, and comment if you've lived this dynamic before. This channel is about rebuilding power, not chasing closure, and you're exactly where you need to be.